Hey everyone, good morning, happy Monday. So today I asked the group in the morning, what do you want me to talk about in the Facebook Live? And I decided whatever the first comment will be, I decided to talk about that. So Tanya asked the question, how was your experience from transitioning from working for somebody to working for yourself? What challenges did you face? How did you overcome them? You know, things of that sort. So I want to talk about that. Keep it light for Monday, okay? Keep it like more motivational. But I also decided to piggyback on that topic and talk about how I manage multiple businesses, okay? Let me just get my tea over here. Hold on. Okay, there you go. And by the way, there were a lot of great topics that were discussed in the comments. And I definitely want to talk about them, but I can't talk about them all in one day. I just decided to pick the first topic and go with it. So if you wrote something in there as an idea, or you want to write something in there as an idea, go ahead and feel free to do so. I'll be using those ideas for later Facebook Lives. Okay? So as you're rolling on in, say hey down below so I know you're here, and then we can get started. Again, I want to discuss how I went from working for somebody to working for myself, particularly how was I able to manage it? Meaning, you know, did I create a schedule? You know, was it hard? Because, you know, it's obviously not very easy to go from working for somebody, having a boss, to being your own boss. If you're out there and you are one of those people, then listen up because I want you to learn from my experience. If you are about to do that, then of course listen up. You might learn from my experience, but also it may be your future. And my experience is not the only experience, obviously, but I learned quite a lot regarding it. And yes, Tanya says she's at the point and it's so scary. It is. You guys know from a previous Facebook Live, I had anxiety and had a lot of issues. And it caused me a lot of anxiety in the beginning because it was like, oh my God, like this is it. I'll be making, the money I make is the money I use to support my family. So, and of course, even scarier when my husband quit his job and now he's working for me. That's scarier, right? Because we both rely on my business. So I definitely want to talk about that. Of course, segue into talking about how I manage multiple businesses, and I think has a lot to do with my first topic, so it just makes sense. So let me see if my tea's ready for consumption. Hold on. Sorry, it's a little hot. I may have just burned my tongue. Okay, so again, if you're just joining me, go ahead and say hey down below so I know you're here. Before I get started, I went shopping in Office Depot. I bought another one of these guys. I love them. I put a lot of my file folders in here, and this office needs one. So that's what I got. And I love pens. When I went to Office Depot, my husband was like, don't buy pens. I'm like, okay, I won't. But I did, of course. These are currently my favorite pens. I don't know if you guys are pen junkies out there. But I often switch to what my favorite pen is. And right now, these RSVPs are my current favorite. So, I'm showing you because I literally have bags on my desk from shopping this weekend. And I had a very, very busy weekend, like very. So just before I get started, I want to tell you that, and I don't apologize. I must say I apologize, but I don't apologize. I just want to inform you that this past week-ish, and of course the weekend, I was pretty much unavailable. Meaning you would tag me in a post and I may not be able to respond immediately, which is what you guys are used to. And as you may know, I've been working on the email list webinar this whole entire week, like non-stop. So literally, if you posted and tagged me in something, you probably did not hear from me until the end of the day for very good reason. I'm not ignoring you. Even if I missed your post by accident, I'm not ignoring you. I just need to stay focused and finish it. And this weekend, I did work. I worked Saturday and Sunday, a few hours each day. So also I was unable to be responsive during certain times of the day. So again, it's not that I'm ignoring you guys. It's just that I'm in work mode. You know, just a friendly reminder, not only do I help you guys, I also run several businesses. So it can get overwhelming at times. So anyway, let's get started. So I went from working for somebody to working for myself. I worked as a manager in Macy's, a very, very large store in Houston. And I'll tell you something, I had a lot of struggles with working for somebody because I have ADD, and a lot of times I wouldn't finish projects or what have you. My boss would catch on to these little things. So it was certainly a frustrating process. However, my business started to make enough money. And just for the record, if you're interested to know this, I saved... Where's my pen? Let me see how much I saved before I actually resigned. I think it was... I saved about at least 6 months worth of salary. I forgot my actual amount that I had in my account, the exact number. But I saved at least 6 months worth of salary, okay, before I resigned. So that was also a factor of why I resigned. Another thing was that my business was making more than I was getting paid. And yes, of course I was making more than I was getting paid, because you obviously don't want to resign based on revenue, right? You want to resign based on profits and then some. You can't, like, if you're making $5,000 revenue and you're making $3,000 in profits and you pay yourself $2,500, yes, you can afford to quit or resign and do this full time, but you have to also understand that it's cutting it close. And I'll be honest with you, I was cutting it close too when I decided to resign. But the reason why I did that, because I felt very, 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 listening, strong about if I did my business full time, I could definitely increase it. Now, did I take a risk? Absolutely. But I believed in myself completely. Like, I knew. I mean, I'm the mastermind. I knew I had the tools and the smarts to do it. Like, I knew it. And obviously I did it, because now, how much do I make in a month? Well, at least that. So compared to when I first resigned to now, I make about... on an average month, at least 5 times more. Okay? So definitely, I mean, it's been several years since I quit. Probably 3 or 4 years? I forget. I think I quit in April 2014. So yeah, almost 3 years. So I obviously had some things in place before I decided to resign and do this full time. Now, when it came to the time when I actually resigned, started doing my work full time, I remember I left work early that day. I didn't do a full day at work. I left. I had lunch with my husband. We had a good time. The weekend passed, because my last day was on a Friday. Okay, the weekend passed. And Monday I decided to start work. And how did that go? Well, first of all, and I think some of you may understand this, a lot of our friends and family believe that because we work from home, because we work for ourselves, that we can do what we want. Including my husband thought the same thing. So he would expect me to do laundry throughout the day and do this and do that. And you name it, okay? So my friends would be like, oh, let's go have some lunch. And even my friend, my really good friend, told me recently, well, a few months ago, she told me that she felt like she sees me less now than she did when I used to work for somebody else. And which is true, because I'm working much harder, a lot more hours. But it's obviously for very good reason. I have a lot going on compared to my other job, but I enjoy it more. So nonetheless, friends still expect you to have these free time, and your husband does as well, or whatever, until they actually see what the hell's going on here. Even my friend, and of course this was okay, but she needed somebody to watch her daughter, her little baby, for just a few hours, you know, and I was like, sure, go ahead, you know. Of course she asked me because I'm working from home. I was like, sure. So pretty much that was the perception of people, that you have all this free time. However, sometimes you get stuck in that trap too. Sometimes, and this is how I did it, I would do the laundry throughout the day. I would do this, and yes, I didn't have much time to hang out and stuff, but I was printing or whatever, but I had a lot that I was doing for work, and then a lot that I was not. So sometimes I would end a little early for work. I wouldn't, let me fix my camera. Okay, stop shaking. Okay. But again, I fell into that same trap. I also did some things that I'm not supposed to do. Now when you catch me, very good chance I'm always working, okay? Yeah, sure, sometimes I do end at 3. Sometimes me and my husband decide to take a half day on, you know, Friday for very good reason. But that was hard for me, that part, because there was nobody over me. Like, I knew my boss, let's call her Sally, she was not going to come around the corner and figure out or wonder when my project will be done. I'm my own boss. I'm not going to yell at myself. I'm not going to, reprimand myself. So therefore it was fine. However, and that was a big struggle for me, guys, because not having somebody tell me what to do. What's up with my finger? That hurts. Not having somebody expect a project to be done at a certain time. Very, very difficult. So how did I overcome that one piece, okay? That one piece took a very long time to overcome. I think, and I will be honest with you, I think I best overcame it when I had my assistant start working with me. My assistant, who no longer is with me right now because she moved. I felt like she wasn't my boss, not even close to it, but she was always with me. So I felt inclined to always keep working. I felt inclined not to spend my day on Facebook. I felt inclined not to finish at 3 when she finishes at 5, So that held me accountable. Now, for all of you, you might say, well, what's to hold me accountable, Dahlia? I'm not ready to hire an assistant or whatever. Then why not have an accountability buddy? And this is a real good buddy, okay? Somebody that's preferably in the same business as you, meaning somebody's an entrepreneur, and that you could back and forth with them. So a lot of times, even though I have my husband here, a lot of times I have this friend who also owns her own business, and I'm not sure if she's on the call right now, I doubt it. Me and her have WhatsApp. You guys know what WhatsApp is, right? It's an app on your phone that you could text and call people. But I love it because you're able to voice text. So what we tend to do, and we're not using it as accountability partners, we just tend to do this. And I realized, this is a really smart tool. Because let's call her Sally, my friend. Me and Sally will WhatsApp each other in the morning saying what's on our plate, what we have to get done, what we have to accomplish, and then we'll touch base with each other, or maybe ask questions or something, but touch base with each other later on in the day and say, yes, I completed this, this, and this. All I have left to do is this, or whatever. And the other person, after I tell them, my friend Sally, will end up saying, well, great job, you should be proud of yourself, whatever. So it's really encouraging. Now, if I want to use her as an accountability partner, I would have her check in with me. I would check in with her to see how our to-do list is going, encourage her. Sometimes we need somebody to encourage us, etc. So having an accountability partner would absolutely be ideal if you can. I just read a comment from Samantha. She says, yes, I have to remind my husband that I have a job too, even though it's from home. That is by far one of the most difficult things you might have to do. My husband certainly did not understand until he worked for me. So is it possible that maybe for a weekend you could have him work with you and see what you do and have him do it as well, potentially, if you feel like it. But that is when he just finally decided yes. Now, I hate to do it, but once in a while I have to throw in his face how much money I made. I'm like, you think we could make this much a month and I have time to do laundry? I said, I have time to hardly even use a bathroom on time or whatever. So sometimes it was a very hard struggle getting friends and family to understand. Good morning, Terry. I have that too, and it's helpful to have a person. Great. I love that you have this, Sarah, and I encourage people to do it as well. If you're transitioning, have an accountability partner, and be the change you want to see. Meaning, when you first have an accountability partner, it can be very difficult to kind of get in a groove. Okay. But if you want that person to hold you accountable, hold that person accountable. If you want that person to encourage you when they do accomplish a task, encourage them. Ask them what they've completed out of their 8 to-do lists that they had to do, and then say, oh my God, that's a great job. Really, like your friends. Talk it out, of course, provide feedback or whatever. Sometimes my friend would be like, hey, I'm going to take a half day and blah, 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 because this and that happened. I'm like, no, don't take a full day off. They won't take a full day off. I said, no, do this instead. Get 3 main things off your to-do list done. Then you take your day off. Why? Because then you'll feel better about it. And not that we're workaholics. I mean, you could certainly take a day off, but I knew what she was doing, so I was just like, nope, you have to do something in your to-do list. So definitely encourage that person and treat them the way you want to be treated when it comes to accountability. Okay? I really do need an accountability buddy, otherwise I tend to let things slide. Yup. So if you feel like, just want to throw it out there, if you feel like you connect with somebody in this group, okay, then go ahead and message them privately and say, hey, let's be accountability buddies, and then this is how it will work. And then I prefer to use WhatsApp because I could voice text my updates. It'll be so much easier instead of me typing away. So you're more than welcome to exchange numbers and then just say, all right, let's start WhatsApping. Or however you want to do it. It doesn't matter. You can do it through Facebook even, Facebook Messenger. If you don't want to give out your number, which is obviously probably the right thing to do first, you know. I have to remind everyone that I have a job even though I'm at home. I know, Michelle. And that's a struggle that I think it's very hard to win. So instead, I think you should ignore them. When it comes to like a husband or spouse or something like that, that can be more difficult. But when it comes to everybody else, who cares what they think? Who cares? Even if they go, don't you have time to do this? I'm like, nope. That's all I'm going to tell them. Nope. You know? I think my husband thinks I sit, on a sofa and paint my nails all day. Sometimes I joke I'm going to put a camera above my desk. Right? That's probably a smart idea. Tanya says, do you have an unplugged time where you stop answering emails and such for the day? I shouldn't I? Here's the thing, guys, and this is something that is very hard, well, maybe not, but something hard for you guys to relate to. And maybe it's not the right answer for you guys to hear, but Tanya just asked again, do I have an unplugged time where I don't answer or respond to people? Not particularly. Should I? Maybe. But I will tell you that because I run multiple businesses as well as Handmade Mastermind, it's very difficult. You guys absolutely love tagging me and stuff, you know? And I appreciate it because you guys want to know my opinion. And sometimes my opinion is needed, right? Because a lot of things are going around, you know, or nobody's answering your post and you want my opinion, that's fine. So and then, you know, depending on what's going on, I may just answer. So to answer you, Tanya, I don't have an unplugged time. However, this week, there were big chunks of time where I completely ignored you guys. Again, I'm not going to apologize. It was for a very good reason. I had a lot of work to do. And it kind of felt liberating, meaning I wasn't completely going back and forth to my Facebook, answering and keep going. Because I need to consistently get work done. It was very difficult what I was doing. So, you know, that's that. But no, sometimes at any given time throughout the day, I will always have, even after work, sometimes I do respond to you guys after work, which is much easier for me to respond. Like my husband will be picking up the kids, I'll be cooking dinner. As things are cooking, I start, you know, responding. I binge respond, that's what I do. So it's easier to catch up as opposed to doing during work. Not that I don't want to answer you guys during my work hours, it's just, I have a lot I'm doing, which leads me to my next point. How do I manage multiple businesses? And this is like my last point for this Facebook Live. And again, if you have questions, and Tanya, I'm not sure if I answered all your questions based on your first comment today when I posted. If I didn't ask the other parts of the question, as I forgot what they were. But I want to talk about how I manage multiple businesses. So I manage multiple Etsy shops. I manage Amazon. I manage the Handmade Mastermind, okay? And it is very, very difficult. It is so difficult. There was no way in hell that I could have started out doing this because you have to, you know, crawl before you run a marathon, right? So just understand that it took me time to gain, to develop processes for all this type of stuff, and took me a while to develop. Even if I taught you everything I'm doing, it doesn't matter. You can't just do it like this because it takes a while to get used to. Like, remember I showed you the other day in a Facebook Live. Is this it? This is not it, but it was one of my clipboards. Okay, one of my clipboards that have my to-do list and my distraction list. It took me a while to use it and religiously use it. And it took me a while to recognize that every time I go somewhere between offices, so I have two offices, right? The main office and this office, that I take this with me. So, I mean, that's just an example. But there's other processes I have to do to get used to managing multiple businesses. So, that's one thing to say about that. However, my phone, it's an Android. I have one of my Etsy shops logged in. And the other Etsy app, which is the app that you use to browse and purchase off of as a buyer, that one with the orange icon, that one I have the other store set up with. And that one I can answer convos in as well. So that's how I manage that. Now, somebody mentioned before, a really great tip, even though I don't use it because I prefer just to use Chrome. But you could use multiple browsers to sign in your different Etsy shops. Okay? one thing you can do if you want to use the same browser, which I have not done yet, literally just thought of it right now, is use, let's say, Chrome for one of your Etsy shops, and your other Etsy shops use Chrome, but in incognito mode, in private mode, okay? So then you can still use the same browser and have them both up. If you need to keep, like, you know, most of us, probably if we're working from home, we probably have Etsy up all the time, you know, and I do. I know I do. So having those both tabs up, just in case you have to answer somebody, that would make it a lot easier. So that's one thing. When it comes to, well, I ask you guys, what other questions do you have about me managing multiple businesses? How do I manage my time? Now, again, I don't have it with me. It's outside in the other office, but I plan like nobody's business. However, I don't think about it anymore. I just do it. I've been doing it. And I was going to make a YouTube video soon for my planner. And you'll be happy to hear that that planner is turning to an official planner, that'll be up for sale for you guys. But, again, it's in draft mode, if you will. But anyway, so I take my major, you know, guys know my planning sessions. You can check out my blog on thehandmademastermind.com to see some certain details about it. But I definitely goal plan for the whole year. I definitely break it down to tasks, okay? And I try my best to follow that religiously. If you are not used to doing that, nor do you care to, it'll be a very difficult process, because you'll still see your to-do list right in front of you and go, nah, I don't feel like doing that. And then you get nowhere, you know? I missed Melissa's comment. Let's see what that says. My husband's family not only thinks I have free time, they are still asking when I'm going to get a real job. Oh, I hate people like that. I'm sorry. Arg, if they only knew how much that hurts to hear that. I work 50 hours a week and make more than before I got laid off, but they don't understand. Here's the thing. I mentioned this in another Facebook Live, okay? I don't blame them. Let me explain. They don't get what we do, guys. They don't get it. Heck, when I first resigned and did this full-time, I hardly understood it, right? That's why Tanya asked in the beginning, how did you go from transitioning? Because it is a transition phase. It's hard. So if we go through a hard time, imagine people that don't even do what we do. They don't understand. So my family, when I first announced to them that I'm resigning, I was surprised. I thought my siblings would be very supportive. And my parents would be like, what's going on? It was completely the opposite. So this is just an example. My parents were like, okay, cool. So, and then they start to question some things. They're like, oh, so you're making enough money? I'm like, yeah. They're like, they're like, okay, do you get paid more than Macy's or the same? I'm like, well, I'll be paying myself the same. I don't need to make more. I said, but yeah, I make enough to pay myself. But my brothers and sisters were like all against it, particularly my two brothers. It was very interesting. They didn't believe, they didn't get it, Melissa, just like you and your family. They didn't get it. So, not that I don't blame them. It's just, we can't expect them to understand. We hardly understand what we're doing. Even when people ask us, what do you do for a living? I still think back and say, that's an interesting question. What do I do? And I laugh about it, and then I go ahead and explain it. And yes, I'm a stationery designer, blah, blah, blah. I do multiple things, in my case, you know, and it's very hard for me to describe. So, just understand. Don't be mad at them, right? Unless they're just douchebags all around, all year round. But if this is the only problem you have with them particularly, then they don't mean harm. They just don't get us. And that's okay. That's okay. Because if you try to win the battle trying to have them understand what you do, you will absolutely get nowhere, Melissa, and you'll be like frustrated. And this is for everybody, not just Melissa. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they think because they don't get us. And that's okay. Simple as that. Let's move up for a second. Okay. Exactly, Melissa. So let's move on. So again, when it comes to managing multiple businesses, it is very, very difficult. That's why when people ask me, should I open a second Etsy shop? I stand back and say, hey, do you have these certain things in place? Don't try to juggle, you know, multiple balls when you can't juggle just one. Okay, meaning, is your current Etsy shop doing the right things? Is it, you know, do you have your photos online, your descriptions online? If you decide to open 2 shops or 3 or whatever, but you're still struggling with photos, still struggling with other things, you're really setting yourself up for failure. It is a horrible experience. So that's one tip I want to give you guys. Let me see if my tea is ready for consumption. Okay, obviously it wasn't. What's up with it today? It's staying hot today. I need to be able to drink it. Let me open the cap. Okay, so anyway, is there any questions you guys have about my transition period from moving from working for somebody to working for myself, or even managing multiple businesses? I'll tell you the bookkeeping side. It does take a while for me to obviously do bookkeeping for many businesses. I use something manual. I do an Excel sheet, and which is obviously a manual process, but I prefer it. It's just me. I'm used to it. I like it. I don't like change. Yeah, it takes me a little bit longer than, let's say, something auto-populating into QuickBooks or something. But I just know it works because I know I'm not going to miss anything, particularly. So bookkeeping itself, I have different lines for revenue. So revenue from my first Etsy shop, revenue from my .com, revenue from Amazon, revenue from my other Etsy shop, revenue blah, 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 right? The reason why I separate it is because I need to know where things are coming from. You know, as far as my accountant's concerned, he don't care. He just wants to know revenue, expenses, and expenses have to be broken down. But I need to know because I need to know what is worth it to pursue. I need to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to know certain things, certain categories, etc. My husband and I came up with a 2-year plan last night so I could work from home. I love that. That's interesting. I never did that. I will tell you that everything just happened by accident in the sense that business was rolling and I just did it. So I love that you guys have a 2-year plan. You know what's really good about a 2-year plan? You have something that you're working towards. So, you know, if you're working hard and you feel discouraged, you know that you could look back at your 2-year plan and go, that's what I'm shooting for, you know? I'll tell you something. Sometimes, guys, just so you know, it doesn't get easier sometimes, meaning and I talked about it in a previous Facebook Live about my anxiety and stuff. I have really rough days. And sometimes I work through it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just completely collapse and I do nothing. Entrepreneurship, or whatever we do, is not for everyone. In fact, I will tell you, there's 40 people on this call right now. And I'm not sure who those 40 people are, so I'm just guessing. Let's just say my whole group. There's a lot of people in my whole group right now. There's over, I think, about 6,000 people in my group. Or let's just say this. There's somebody on this call right now that's not for entrepreneurship. And by the way, that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying you're a failure. What I'm saying is that sometimes it's not right for people. It's okay to work for somebody else. I mean, our family has done it. Our parents have done it, you know, etc. I think it's fine. I think we should not look down on people that actually work for themselves, but understand that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Sometimes even I feel like quitting sometimes, right? And then I want to go work for somebody, but then I realize I don't want to go back out there. Anyway, so just understand it's not for everyone. We go through a lot of crap. And again, like I said, there's some people probably on this call right now that will eventually realize over time it's not right for them, you know? Because we deal with a lot. Okay? If it's not SEO, it's photos. If it's not this, it's that. It's this and that. And it's so much. You know, currently I'm launching the email list webinar. Well, I pre-sold it. It's about to launch at the end of the month. And the reason why I'm having the email list webinar is because we have to have our own plan for success. We have to drive our own traffic. We have to own our list. We don't own social media platforms, etc. That whole ordeal for some people is probably it's going to feel like, you know, a weight on your shoulders because it's like, no, I have to start this whole email thing from, you know, fresh. And I understand that, but we have to build our own success. So it's another thing that's added onto our plates. You know, for those of you who are interested in building an email list, it's quite a task to do, but it's absolutely worth it. I mentioned to you that I use it to drive my own traffic to my .com, and it's doing fairly well. So, I mean, I'm making money on my .com fairly well. So, just something to consider. Terry, if you have 2 Etsy shops, do you need separate tax numbers or can you use the same? I use the same. Can you do a YouTube video on bookkeeping like you did for SKUs? So, I saw somebody post that the other day, and I'm not sure exactly what you want to see. You want to see exactly how I bookkeep, like as if I was bookkeeping for the month? That could be difficult because then, essentially, I would have to share my numbers and, you know, share my everything. And that's, I think, a little too much for me to do in the sense that it's too private. I don't want to share that much. You know, I share a lot already. So that would be an issue when I have to do a video on bookkeeping. I did a more general one on Facebook Live, but to actually show you my process, again, it's very difficult to show you without you seeing my numbers, without you seeing my Etsy things, without you seeing every single detail of my business, which I don't want to reveal. And not because I have something to hide, but because I can't reveal everything, you know? Remember, I still sell like you guys. I have to still protect my business, you know? Maggie, hey Maggie, health insurance coverage is sticking point for me when I think of quitting my job. Okay, that is an interesting topic because I don't have health insurance. There you have it, right? So you might go, oh, Dahlia, what do you do when your kids get sick? What are you doing, you know? Well, everybody needs to calm down for a second because I will tell you that because I don't have health insurance does not mean I don't visit the doctor. I just pay cash, okay? So that's one thing that people tend to misunderstand. My brother misunderstands it. And I was like, calm down. I still go see the doctor. Now, just for the record, a sick visit, depending on if it's an adult or a kid, is anywhere from like $50 to like $79. My eye exam is about $79, you know, etc. Now, we are a particularly healthy family, meaning we don't have any major illnesses or anything like that. So I'm just speaking for ourselves. I'm not encouraging you to do this. I'm just saying, this is my experience, that we don't have it. When we need to see the doctor, we go, including my checkups. A lot of times your checkups, you leave and you're absolutely fine, so you feel like you just wasted your time and money. No, I still do it to make sure I'm, you know, living. So I recently had my full checkup, I think it was last year, the end of last year. I paid a pretty penny for it, yes, several hundreds, but because blood work as well, you know, all that stuff. But it was worth it for me to make sure that I'm not falling apart. Sometimes I feel like I'm falling apart. Everything that we do, we get stressed, we get overworked, etc. So I pay cash. Now, a lot of people give cash discounts, okay? Also, it's important that, and I'm not going to talk about keeping yourself healthy because I don't know your life, I don't know your experience. Maybe you are trying to keep yourself healthy, but you still get sick. That's fine. But a lot of times, as I'm growing as a mom, getting more experience as a mom, I realize basic things that my kids go through don't need a doctor's visit, okay? A cough could be easily treated with some home remedies, okay? I prefer home remedies before I get medicine involved. If it's something really serious, then yes, I go to the doctor. If it's a fever that lasts more than a day or something, then yes, absolutely. If Tylenol doesn't bring it down, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So I save so much money. Now, listen to the thing. I save so much money over time with health insurance that I don't care if I have to pay $79 for a visit, etc. Now, somebody's probably asking, but what if you get into a really bad accident or if something really, really bad happens to you and you fall ill? I don't know. If I get into a really bad accident, I do have really, really great car insurance that obviously covers me for my accident or whoever was in my car. So that's that. Otherwise, if I fall really ill, God forbid, then I'm not really sure. But that's all I have to say. Okay? Until health insurance in the U.S. becomes more affordable or whatever, then I could possibly do it for the future. But I'm so used to not paying for health insurance that, you know, I kind of like it. And there is no history of anything serious illness in my family. Usually things are genetics, you know. Not everything is, but usually some things are. So that's why I'm not highly concerned. The only thing that runs in my family is my husband, my father, has glaucoma. I always get checked for an extra test for glaucoma every 6 months. I'm pretty okay. So that's all. Sorry, I just wanted to let that out. Because I know it's a very hot topic, insurance. Very, very hot topic. I'm excited to use because I want to buy a house first. Cool. Minnie, I love that. I love that you have a SKU sheet for all your products now. My sister absolutely loves her SKU sheet. She can't live without it. A few members have emailed me. Big fans. They're just like, they just want to give me their feedback, how much they loved it and how much they use it. They didn't realize how much they'd be able to use it until they had it ready. They did the work and started like going about their business and started to realize, oh yeah, I could use a SKU sheet, you know? I quit entrepreneurship at least one time a week. That's hilarious, Anne. You're absolutely right. That happens, I think, to a lot of us. We're just like, I quit. I just want to, how could I get rich really quickly? How could I win the millions? How could I start to think about things, let's get back to reality, and I go back to work, you know? I agree, I can't give it all away. Thank you. I'm sorry, I missed a lot of comments, by the way, so I'm scrolling up. But don't you have to pay the fine at the end of the year? Great question, Cindy. I love to answer that question, because yes, I do. Yes, I do. So yes, I paid a hefty fine at the end of the year. So you might say, why would you do that, Dahlia? Why? Well, because the fine I pay is much Well, first of all, it was a lot of money. It was several thousand. But it was much less than I would have paid if I had a health insurance. And again, guys, me and my family are not very sick individuals. So, maybe in the year we probably paid, let's just say, I don't know exactly, up to $1,000, in paying cash, right, for healthcare. And then the fine, add that up, it's much, much less than actually paying for healthcare currently on my own. So, just for the record. General categories and how Excel sheet should be like, the components, and the formula to arrive at the profit figures after deducting all costs. Maybe I will do one mini then. Okay, maybe I will. Does Etsy still offer insurance? I didn't know they offered insurance. What are you talking about, Tiffany? Tell me more. I don't know about that. I used to do that because insurance was too expensive. I was more cost effective to pay cash, honestly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. We only have it now because my husband's job offers them. Yeah. What's a SKU sheet? Welcome, Laura. You're not that new. I recognize your name. On my YouTube channel, I have a video. However, if you just search within this group, go to the little search bar and click on SKU. I guess you just write SKU, S-K-U. I'm sure you'll find it a few videos down. You can type in SKU and then my name, SKU, and then Dahlia. And you'll be able to see the video I posted from YouTube on there. That's probably the easiest way to find it, I would say. My YouTube channel, if you just type in YouTube search Dahlia Abdullah, my name, you'll probably, I don't have that much video, so you'll probably see the SKU video, okay? So, okay, that's the wrong side. Let me turn that bad boy around. Last year of the year before, Etsy paired with an insurance company and offered it to us. Tiffany, how much was it? Give or take. I'm just wondering. But no, I'm not aware of that. But me personally, I'm not giving you advice. I'm not doing it. But I will tell you that me personally, I probably wouldn't want to go back to paying insurance. I used to pay, and it was no big deal, but I used to pay in Macy's about $500 a month for health insurance, and I think that was part dental as well. And it was nothing. It was just like something that everybody always did. I was so used to something that everybody always did. And then when I stopped having it, I realized, wow, I spent a lot, and I didn't go to the doctor as much. My daughter, who turned 4 in December, she had to take her 4-year-old shots and her checkup. I just paid cash for them. Yeah, it cost me a few hundred, but again, it's better than me. And I think to myself, oh, a few hundred? That sucks. But I said, you know what? I'm saving a lot more money than, I'm paying health insurance. And again, and then I hate to talk about this because I'm not judging you if you have illnesses or anything like that, but I try my best to keep my family healthy, and, I'm a paranoid soul by nature, so my kids don't do anything crazy, like jump off roofs and do crazy things that hurt themselves. Like, in the act of God, something could happen without my control, but I will say that me and my husband are very careful with our kids when it comes to them playing and doing things. And I think, unfortunately, I taught my daughter the same thing, so she's very careful with certain things. And I'm not saying that to prevent a lot of issues, but I don't know, I'm just saying, this is just me. You should move up to Canada. Why? I would love to have you. I actually spoke to a member who's in Canada the other day, because I want to know about health insurance over there. Not because I want to move there, but because I was interested in seeing all the rumors about overseas healthcare true. Anyway, it's a long conversation, but me and my husband discussed moving to Canada once for other reasons. You guys probably know why, but it was for fun, but we realized, no, my business would completely, not collapse, but not do as well. So that's not, neither here nor there. But I heard it was beautiful. And that's what the insurance companies count on, healthy paying people premiums. Yeah, exactly. And I was watching the news the other day about when they talked about healthcare. Obviously, that's a big topic right now. And it was a debate, actually. And they talked about how much, and of course we probably could guess this, how much money these health insurance companies make, billions. And it's obviously a for-profit business. We understand that. But and again, when you need it, it eventually helps you, right? Because some people that get really sick, you would have paid like 100 grand for a major surgery, but you didn't have to pay that much, you know what I'm saying? So there's some good benefits to it, but I just was left with no choice, so I'm just used to it now. Sorry, a lot of messages I have to read. Nicole, I'd love to move to Canada. Work on convincing my husband who hates the cold. My son broke both of his arms. I still paid full price because of the high deductible. Yeah, that is another issue as well, Amanda, the high deductible. So that really sucks, right? And yes, you know, it could be that even though my kids are very careful, they could end up breaking an arm or something, and I'll just have to deal with it and pay, which is, I think, fine. But Amanda brings up a good point that even if you had health insurance, you might have to pay a high deductible unless you have a much better insurance plan. When my husband worked for oil and gas before the industry went belly up, he had really good health insurance. I probably saw the doctor once during that time for a checkup. It was pretty good. And then obviously he got laid off because oil and gas industry right after he graduated went, see you later, right? So, so anyway, sometimes you realize in the end it's maybe not worth it. But again, I'm not giving people advice to quit their health insurance. I'm just saying my experience. Okay, I don't even know what time it is. I don't even have a laptop next to me, nothing. So let me wrap this up for you guys, okay? I know this kind of maybe went a little bit off topic, but we did talk about things like healthcare, obviously, and other things that have to do with working for yourself, which is very difficult, okay, and scary. I also talked about, very shortly, very quickly, how I manage multiple businesses, which I think is always very difficult. I don't have it down packed, but my planning in general helps me, and my experience over time helps me, meaning no matter if I teach you everything I do right now, it can still be very difficult for you because I have experience in checking my multiple shops. I have experience in doing this and this and that. You know, every time my husband enters the house, he's not here yet, he checks Amazon first, and he has a method. He checks Amazon, Etsy, blah, blah, blah. And he does it in this way because it's structure. And at first he didn't know what to do, you know, and now over experience and over time, he does that. So again, it does take time to get used to when you're managing multiple shops. It's also very difficult when you have to learn to market for multiple shops, okay? So, sorry, stretch. Okay, guys. So, I'm going to let you guys go. I have to get started with work. Today's a Monday, so you know a lot is happening. I got a lot done over the weekend and the week. Email list webinar, looking good. I'm just putting literally final touches on it. Like, looking through everything, make sure everything's working. Final touches. And then it's pretty much done, which is very exciting. Because I worked this weekend to make it happen. And so I'm finishing the final touches up. And then I'm working on some marketing strategies for my e-commerce business. That's going to be very, very exciting. More about that on another Facebook Live. And since I worked yesterday, I already did all my proofs and all that type of stuff. It was a very, very slow weekend for me. Okay? Very, very slow. So my husband will probably be caught up by himself. I don't have to help him print. I'm just doing some busy work. And that's it. Just a friendly reminder, okay? I'll say this to people that are left on the call. Email list webinar will launch toward the end of the month. And it is pretty much completed, just for the record. So I could obviously sell it tomorrow, but I already told people the end of the month, and that's fine. We'll keep it to the end of the month. I'll give you the exact dates in the next day or so. I'll tell you the exact dates when it's launching. I also want to say that during that Facebook Live, it'll be a 3-day launch like I usually do. During that Facebook Live, I'll be giving people that are interested in knowing more about email lists, I'll be giving away free tips on how to get started, etc., etc. Almost like an email boot camp, okay? More about that, again, in the next few Facebook Lives, and I want people to join me for that launch day, because again, if you are, regardless if you're interested in getting the webinar or not, those tips will absolutely help you. So even if you can't afford the webinar, I encourage you to come, because I still want people to get an email list together, right? Because, well, it's simple, because it's the right thing to do, right? So I still want to give away some free tips to get people started in the journey, regardless, okay? So when that launch day happens, which I'll give you the official date soon, I will let you know. And that's going to be a very exciting email boot camp Facebook Live. Okay, guys, I'll let you guys go, and I'll catch you tomorrow. All right? Bye.